everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. No matter what time you're listening to this, welcome to the Elite Real Estate Podcast with your co-host, myself, Sam Popple, along with my best friend, William McClellan. How's it going, Will?
Dude, every day is a good day, man. Every day is a good day. Super excited for today's episode. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Definitely. So we have someone who she's been my friend for the past few years, someone I've looked up to for a long time. She is a super mom, a single mother. She is a real estate broker, house flipper, and real estate investor, and now going to be a high-end performance coach. My friend, Heather Blatz. How's it going,
Welcome.
Heather?
Hi, thank you. It's wonderful.
Well, we're
Awesome.
excited to have you on this podcast. You're definitely a lady in real estate and well known in the Destin Fort Walton community as being a super broker. So we're excited to have you on the show.
Yeah,
Thank
and to all the
you. I
listeners.
appreciate that.
So all the listeners are excited since we've dropped your name about your meetup and everything quite a few times on a number of episodes. So super excited to have you.
Definitely, Matt Gardner and Jorge Ruiz both definitely spoke highly of the meetup, and that's actually where I've met a lot of these people as well. So it's definitely been one of my favorite meetups on the Emerald Coast to go to, where I always get a lot of value.
Totally.
Oh, yay. I love that. I love that. That's exactly why I started it. And there's really no sense in living life without community and without relationships. So I'm so glad.
Totally. Tell us a little bit about that and kind of your inspiration to start it.
Sure. I actually started the real estate investment group because I wanted contacts to continue to learn as I was flipping properties and deciding where I was going to put my money. And
Sure.
it just felt like I always needed, extra contractors, and I really wanted to learn. Matter of fact, I went to Matt Garner's real estate investment group that he had and loved the networking part of it, and that everybody was like-minded and wanted to build wealth through real estate. And it was a little bit far of a drive for me. So I talked to him and I was like, what do you think if I do this in Fort Walton? He was he was an advocate of it, and he has been a speaker at that real estate investment group many times and brought tons of people to it. So now I think we've had almost 600 people through the doors since we hold it every single month, and have been doing so for a couple of years.
Jeez, that's awesome.
Yeah. Definitely. I was actually telling someone the other day that I don't think outside of the couple early meetings I went to when you were moving different spaces trying to find our permanent home at the Fort Walton Beach Yacht Club. I was telling someone I don't think I've ever been when there's been like less than 40 people. It's always, I'd say it seems like a group of at least 40, 50 people there at all times. And I've definitely been there when I felt like there's been about 100 people in the room. Yeah. And the Facebook community is definitely just huge.
Yes. It was about almost 90, one of the biggest ones that we had on goal setting at the beginning of the year. We obviously had a great speaker, Paul Dominic came in, and we co-taught, actually, I think it was October, sorry. We co-taught a goal setting seminar, hoping to get people set up for the following year so they can go ahead and start, making a change. And one of the biggest things I always say in the group is I don't want you in the same position at this time next year. If your goal is to buy one real estate, property, whether it's primary or an investment, let's get there. Every year we should be making one step forward in the goals that we're setting.
Definitely agree with that. No, that's definitely good advice. That if you're not moving the needle, you need to relook at what you're doing. So definitely.
Totally. No, I love that. So tell us a little bit, like life before, real estate and getting this huge, following and networking and all the things that you're doing, for the community, but then also, building a business and things for yourself. Kind of what propelled you to get started?
Oh gosh, the history, right? That leads us to where we are today. I started real estate actually right outside of college. I was very interested in building wealth when I was in college, read a bunch of really good books, Robert Kiyosaki, John Maxwell, a bunch of investment books. And it really, created this urgency for me to not live the life that I was living as a child and as a teenager. And so I jumped into real estate. The market fell. I moved to Florida. I got into the fitness industry. I was competing at the time. And I had my own training program. I was a nutrition specialist, and I started to work. I actually worked for Gold's Gym here locally in Miramar Beach and in Fort Walton, and built a huge community there of not just competitors, but also I went into corporations and helped them design fitness programs to help individuals just feel healthier and have more energy and be more productive at work. So community building has always been a thing for me. I love relationships and being involved with people. And that's probably what propelled my real estate industry, business, because I had so many connections. I was in the fitness industry here for 6 years, involved in the community, the chamber. And so when I got into real estate again, everyone that I sold real estate to trusted me with their health and their fitness. And so they definitely wanted to use me in their real estate world.
That's awesome. We talk a lot about networking, and it kind of is I don't want to say a redundant, but it's a repetitive topic that comes up on pretty much every single episode. So I love how you kind of switched the niche that you were into, but still it was the baseline of creating community and networking, and no matter what industry you guys are in as listeners, like there's a ton of ways that you can utilize your network, to grow your wealth, your knowledge, and things like that. So I think that's a really cool story, how you kind of transition that over. Tell us a little bit about, growing up. You said you moved here, working with Gold's Gym after college. Like, what's a little bit before college, and what led you into competitions and everything?
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. So I did not grow up understanding fitness as a child. Just really going back to a preteen, I was very uncomfortable with the way that I looked. I didn't know a lot about nutrition. I wasn't active. And then there's always that pivotal moment. I was called fat as a 11-year-old, I think, and all kinds of things happened. I quit eating. I didn't know, really what to do to look better. You obviously care about it. You're starting to have interest in boys. And so as I grew up, I remembered that. And I struggled with anorexia. I was bulimic at a point in my life. And even after my first child at 23, I struggled pulling the weight off. And that's when I started going to a local gym and they were competing. And I saw these before and after photos of women around my age and a little older. And I was just surprised at what a transformation. Not only did they lose body fat, but they really transformed their physique. They had, an hourglass figure. They had, bigger legs, muscular legs and glutes and, strong arms. And I was like, wow, I can like completely change my physique if I do what you guys have been doing. Can you do that for me? And that really inspired my desire to learn more about nutrition and the sports side, the athletic side of female body. And when I did that, I was in real estate and it inspired me so much. I started changing my entire look that I really wanted to then get involved in doing that for other people.
That's amazing. Yeah, I see that that transition, kind of happen simultaneously for you. So, how can you take some of those things that you learned through weightlifting and training and kind of correlate that over outside of just the networking to your real estate? I know you said that you started putting that into all forms. What does that kind of look like for the listeners?
I love that question because it's actually the basis of my coaching program. I do believe that you can get results if you attack things from the talent perspective in sales and in your industry. But I don't believe that you can get the fulfillment side and the true success and feeling wealthy, feeling healthy, feeling worthy in your life and having the peace, the joy, the happiness side of life if you don't start with that foundation. And that foundation is your physical and your mental and your emotional well-being. And so what I learned as a young, I guess I was in my young 20s when I learned all of this, is when you start there, other things start aligning. And so being consistent when I get up and work out, and being that delayed gratification, making positive choices for myself. Really, as I got into the real estate industry and wanted to improve my financial state, it was the same thing. You get up and you go to work when you don't feel like it, and you do what's hard, even though, you might not understand it, or might not feel like it, or might not get quick results. And I've seen that as I've coached realtors moving forward. Maybe they didn't have a fitness background, so it was a harder thing for them to grasp and understand that, there was huge delayed gratification when it comes to both fitness and health. And as you move along in your business in real estate, it's not instant gratification. And unfortunately, we're in a world now, the generations that we're dealing with right now, it's even worse for them to be patient through the process and understand that determination and consistency and doing things that don't have, positive results right away doesn't, mean that you shouldn't be doing them, and just being able to stick that out.
I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more with that. I definitely think we're living in a world where, a lot of times we see the results and the wins on social media, but we don't see the 9 or 10 failures that it took, in between that success, to get there all the way to the success. So it's, definitely something that I think is happening in this world. And, we can definitely see that, your discipline and understanding of delayed gratification has definitely helped elevate you to where you are currently. Was there anybody kind of, early on, kind of at the beginning of, you making the transition to real estate that kind of inspired you to, go in full force?
Gosh, to go from the fitness world into real estate, I did have a few realtors that were in my training programs, particularly a friend of mine, Jen Purdy, who you probably know. She has a really good name in town. She was just like one of those gentle voices that was always listening to me, and I was listening to her. So, I offered the fitness and nutrition to her, and I was in a financial state as a mother with 3 children where I wasn't super happy about it. I mean, I was making $40,000 a year, and that had been such a consistency. The growth wasn't there. And it really could have never been there in that position. And she would constantly encourage me, you really should get your real estate license. You would be great at it. And for whatever reason, even though I did it before, I'd gone through a divorce. There was different mental and emotional states from coming out of college, got a divorce, got into the fitness industry. I don't know if I just had a little bit of insecurity, or just seemed like a bigger world now that I had stopped and then started into the fitness industry. It wasn't a security thing, because I made money off of commissions at the gym as well. But it took her a while, probably a year, to convince me to get into real estate. And I think that, like with anybody, things just got really hard, and it got to the point where there was really no other choice. And she would talk about the money that she made and the time that she was able to spend, doing some of the things that she loved. And it, inspired me. And I started that passion started boiling up inside to just have more for not only myself, but for my girls. And at the time, I had a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And any woman that has that age of kids, like, you're completely stressed out, and you're looking for, that lifeline. And that's what that was for me. That's what she was for me then.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, and it's definitely seeing you as your friend. Social media has, it's definitely been amazing to to watch your come up, and and the progression of your family and everything. So I think that's definitely cool that she was there to inspire you like that. Well, tell us about life today. What's your kind of real estate? Or sorry, let's kind of, before we jump into that, let's kind of get into after you start becoming a realtor. I knew you started doing some fix and flips and stuff. So when did it go from you just helping other people buy their house to you making your own investment moves?
Okay, so the flipping world actually started right outside of college. It was the reason why I was interested in real estate. I got my real estate license at the same time I was driving around town looking for dumpsters and yards and trying to find somebody that could teach me about how to build wealth through real estate. And I met a few different contractors and investors that would answer all of my questions. And then I just started, I guess, driving for dollars is what they call it now. And I was knocking on doors that looked abandoned and going back to the office and looking up on white pages, I think is what it was called, whitepages.com, then for telephone numbers of people that owned these properties and purchasing them, convincing a bank to give me money. I mean, at the time it was kind of easy because it was only like $20,000 per property and, maybe 10,000 in renovations, and then I could sell them for 50, 55. That's just where I started. And then, gradually moved up into the
Was
100, $200,000 range. But I just had a desire to do something. And like with anything, action definitely is going to uh, benefit you more than any sort of knowledge. So I did a lot of things and learned along the way. And when I got back into real estate in 2008 in Florida, I didn't have the money to invest. So I did the same thing that I did back outside of college. And I started looking for dumpsters and yards, finding people that had money that were the investors and finding out what they were looking for, and then go door knocking, finding the properties for them. And I'd connect the two. Then I, found myself obviously being able to make money on the front end, being able to make money as a realtor on the back end, and then got more into the design side of things, started charging for that service. As I got the experience, I became an investor where I would either put the down payment down or I would be the person that invested the money to renovate the property. And I negotiated not my commission, but my percentage of ownership in that deal based on that position that I took. And that's what I love about flipping and real estate is it really, you can have time, you can have money, you can have talent. One of those three things, you can jump in and take a piece of the pie in the investment world if you're connecting with people.
Definitely. What did some of those like early splits kind of look like? Because I'm sure there was a little bit of a
Mhm.
progression from the beginning. I'm sure you didn't get nearly as much as you do maybe like today if you were going to do a deal with somebody. But just so everyone can listen, for someone starting out, what kind of split did you negotiate like for those first couple deals?
So initially, when I found properties, it would be depending on the price of the property, the finder's fee. So $3,000, $5,000, some $10,000 when I got better at negotiating, depending on how much work I would do for that investor. Sometimes, to be honest with you, I didn't charge anything. I'd find the property and I'd say, if you let me be involved in this, teach me how to do some things, and let me sell it on the other end, I won't charge anything to go find these properties. And then as I started building income, $20,000, $40,000, and I became the down payment, I also was the down payment and brought a lot to the table. So I would tell them, this is what you can buy it for. This is what the renovation will cost. I already have 5 guys to do it. You just, need to put the loan in your name, purchase the property. Whether I put the down payment down or paid for the renovations, we would work that out and then we would 50-50 split it. And most of my opportunities from then on out, once I started seeing my value and increasing my talent, that they were 50-50.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love hearing that because it just goes to show that you can really get in however you need to in the beginning and over time it'll definitely benefit you.
Yeah, I tell people now, if you don't have money and you don't know how to flip properties, go out there and find the deals, come into the investment group, find people that will buy them, ask them to be involved and learn and create a financial piece for you in the beginning for finding the deal. I mean, it's a no-brainer of how to get into the business. Otherwise, if you can't find deals now for other people, how are you going to be finding them for yourself?
Right. No, that definitely makes sense. So from the doing the investing and flipping, then let's kind of get into a little bit about you as a broker before we move on to today. So how is the the real estate business been as a broker?
Okay, so that's a great question. In real estate, in order for you to be a broker, you have to have your license for 2 years under another broker. You can be a broker at other brokerages, which is called a broker associate. And so I always encourage real estate agents, get your real estate license. After 2 years, get your broker's license. Make sure you have it because it is an extra form of education, but it also gives you flexibility in your business. So if you ever wanted to take a broker associate position where they're offering either extra pay or a lower commission split, or I guess it'd be a higher commission split, for those services, you could take that opportunity. You could also open your own brokerage at that point. And so any person that has a real estate license that is working full-time in real estate, 100% should be getting their broker's license. Again, it doesn't mean they have to open a brokerage, but it gives them the ability to do that and be kind of have more power over their own business.
No, that definitely makes sense, and definitely, I think it's the right idea to just to make sure you have all the groundwork for security. He's getting into that. He's coming back. We'll just go ahead and jump into today. So tell us about what you're doing now.
Sure thing. So I have coached pretty much all my life, I feel like. I have actually created a lot of teaching material for real estate and for fitness. And I've also worked with a couple of companies in their internal systems and their sales systems. And so now I'm putting all of that together to transition into full time. And so instead of me taking on a couple of teams and or single agents at a time, and usually it's one company and a couple of real estate agents, now I'm going to be able to take on some high level companies, probably teams, and operate within their company to help their sales team. But the biggest difference is that I will be adding the health and fitness piece to my coaching program because I have seen that work wonders. And I do understand there's people out there that may not want that as a part of their coaching programs. However, that is not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in somebody that is looking to both improve their life professionally and personally as well. It gives me tons of inspiration and motivation. If it wasn't for the fact that we need money to live, I would do it absolutely for free. I love seeing the health and fitness transition in people's life, what it does for their emotional state, their mental state, even the decisions that they make in their life. And some people do make drastic decisions after the improvement in those areas. They open completely different businesses. They unattach from relationships that have been doing them harm, and they have I guess they ignite their passion again. It is just such a fulfilling thing for me. And I just made the decision this year that I was going to stop everything that I was doing that was keeping me from starting this community and starting this business as a full-time community structure, and jump all in. It'll be completely developed by the end of the year. And the first launch is in September.
That's amazing. I'm very excited to hear about that. And I like your approach because what's money and success without good health, and then what's good health without money and success. So
Right.
So I definitely think you got to have both, and that's definitely the kind of people that will go the furthest. So back to on the talking about the current the current coaching that you're going to be doing in September.
Mhm.
You said it's you're looking, it's going to be more for like companies with small sales teams and stuff like that, or
Yes.
are you going to be doing some individual coaching as well for like the team leaders or CEOs and stuff?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. There are a few clients that I already have that are just individual, and they already have systems set up for sales within their company and management internal systems. Some of my corporate clients are way on the other side of that, very successful, and they're just looking for that personal piece, getting their, really getting their physical, mental, emotional, spiritual health situated, or well-being situated, so they can make more proactive decisions in their life rather than reactive decisions. They're finding themselves in kind of a brain fog situation because finances is no longer a problem. And when most people in our stage of life, 30s, 20s, 30s, 40s, finances drives their decisions, and they usually make decisions based on the last decision that they made. And so they're where they are because last year they were here, and this is the next step. And the year before that they were here, and so on and so forth. So sometimes it's, you know kind of erasing that, and starting over and pretending that we have a blank slate. But we have to start from our foundation. We have to start in getting to know ourselves, taking a deep dive into understanding what makes us tick, and what really brings happiness, fulfillment, peace, and no anxiety and no stress, and discover ourselves that way, and start creating the steps to what that life would look like. And then we draw parallels between where they are now and where they want to be. And in most cases, it is along the same lines of what they're doing, but there are definitely some things that they've picked up along the way that have been dragging them down. And you've got exhaustion, you've got, where they're not happy with their life, and, which again creates another whole reactive state of destroying things, and, about what I call left and right turns, instead of staying on the path. So we have people that are very successful and they could be successful in any industry. They could start a new business today and create multi-million dollar business because they have the talent to do so, and the systems and the experience to do so. But at the end of the day, what does it create for them? And most of the time it's more exhaustion, and really a set of sadness and depression.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. So, like, what do you, knowing your whole background and all the things you have experience with, like, what do you recommend for, people that are like, stressed out in their business? Like, how do you, how does someone, go about, trying to, get back to like a baseline level, and not feeling stressed?
Yeah,
Come on,
that's a
Sam. That's
great
what
question.
our coaching career is for.
Trying to get some free tips.
Right.
Come on, man.
I mean, it's the question, right? It's the question that all successful people are asking themselves. And some of them take the pathway to discovery, and others just continue to do the same thing over and over again. And, that they'll think that it's some external circumstances. They'll think it's a person, a career, or, a business that they started, or, they jump into something else, or they grow bigger and they think that that's going to bring some sort of satisfaction. And so they'll have this cycle because they completely avoid. It sounds so simple to be intra focused, to start focusing and diving deep on ourselves. And most people, for one reason or another, they're just not interested. And then you start talking about those things, and it's not as complicated as creating a business. It's not as complicated as, starting a system, or I mean, it sounds crazy to think about it. Creating a whole new multi-million dollar business is more intriguing and complicated. And so there's no way that this little, diving deep into my, personal self is going to make that big of an impact. They just don't believe it. And so, unfortunately, I can't help people that aren't willing to look at that, and understand that it's an avenue that they haven't navigated yet, and be open to a system. I call it a trial system because you can really see some huge changes in 90 days. And that's where I'll start people if they're willing to have an open mind. What I can't do is convince somebody to be there, because then it's a lot of self work. I can be there coaching you, but you have to want and believe that it's going to help you improve somehow, some way. And it does take going deep, not surface level.
And I heard some underlying law of attraction stuff in there in terms of
Yeah.
yes,
And I love that.
seeing is believing, and yeah, no, I definitely think that's great. So not to give away too many of your complete coaching secrets, but like at a high level, what would someone's like first 90 days with you look like? What would the kind of like the overall guidepost kind of be that you'd get into?
Sure, that's a great question. Most of the time, the first 2 to 3, I spend a lot of time in the beginning with them, and then we start to phase in the program because the self-discovery stage could take a week, it could take 2 weeks, and it's really about, how complicated their life has been and how easy it is for them to even find answers. And we don't wanna create an obligation process there. So if it starts to feel like an obligation, then our natural tendencies is to get exhausted with it. And so it could take, like I said, 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks for somebody to get through all the pieces. If you go to my Instagram, there's an initial evaluation there that you can log in and create. There's a couple questions, so you can fill out that questionnaire, and we basically get on a call and we assess where we're at and how long I think that it would take you to go through the initial consultation. Could be a week, could be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and again, it depends on the personality style. So after that, we start implementing the most important thing first. And even if you take it down to the fitness and health, and if somebody wanted to lose body fat, get off of high blood pressure medicines, they wanted to make some easy shifts in nutrition, then we don't do all of that at one time, right? I mean, you've been there before, because you're not going to get the instant gratification, and it's going to be a lot of things shifting at one time, and you're not going to be able to work, you're not going to be able to be a mom or a dad and show up in those spaces. So the 90 days gives us time to make enough changes in that time frame that you can absorb it, you can be happy with those changes and know that you can move forward with it. The growth occurs after that. This part is to change your mental state when it comes to how you look at your fitness, your health, your mental and emotional state. If I can take somebody that wakes up every day and is miserable, and then they start waking up every day excited and happy, even with not having particular goals in front of them, that's huge. That's a huge state change for them, and it puts them in a position for all kinds of things to happen.
No, that definitely makes sense and stuff. Yeah, and that's a great way to look at it. I mean, yeah, definitely that's definitely a big progress. Is just being able to wake up happy. So no, I definitely like that.
Mhm.
Um, what does the what's the kind of the ideal like client or industry that you're looking for? Like what would be your favorite industry, I guess, to work with? I mean, probably a lot of realtors, obviously, since you understand them, but maybe what is
Mhm.
am I
Yeah, so I definitely love the real estate industry, and I absolutely understand it. But I've had company CEOs and executive owners that I don't understand that industry, but it's really not the industry I'm helping with, it's the person. And I do understand driven people and people that have a life to handle as well. I mean, we all essentially desire to be happy, and so that is what I do understand. And I do understand the fitness side of things, the mental and emotional well being, and how to get there. I mean, it took me years. I made a decision years ago because success was easy for me. And I switched from one industry to another business and created success very quickly in those areas. And I didn't have to do all the things that everyone always teaches, 100 calls a week. And I didn't have to do that in order to create $1 million business. And so I understand that part, but I wasn't happy doing it. I mean, I couldn't even imagine what people that worked for me felt at the time, because I was a more of a chaos environment person. Like when I came in, I was drill sergeant, and it bothered me when people weren't as driven as I was, and it bothered me if they weren't working as hard as I was, or on the phone, or doing what they had to do. And So I can imagine that environment to be around me wasn't exciting. And at the end of the day, I wasn't excited to be that kind of person either. And so when I wanted to change it, it wasn't some external thing. I just wanted to not be that person. And I'm like, that's miserable, right? That's a miserable person. And so I studied it for years. I studied your brain. I studied the brain types is one of the books I'll mention. I've got it written down. I studied meditation. I studied, what trauma looked like as a childhood trauma, or, not even childhood, like adult trauma. How does that affect you? I study a lot of psychology for raising children and relationships, and that all of that took me years to understand. But I was serious about it, and I really wanted to, make that change. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, no, I think you jumped on a lot, but no, I think that was no. I mean, I definitely am interested in your coaching. So I think that's going to be very helpful to a lot of people.
Yeah.
What
So
what is?
where
There's
can we?
there's Will.
Yeah. Where can we find you for the September class? Like, and generally, how many people do you accept into your coaching?
Okay, so great question. These are all the pieces that I'm putting together now, because now that I started mentioning it on Instagram, people are asking me, and I'm like, whoa. So
Hey, that's a
the
gold-plated problem, though. That's good.
so my high level coaching that includes the one-on-one, the team building, working with either them one-on-one or breaking it up into their team. I only have 10 slots for that, and it is an annual program, and they get a lot of Heather. So the my next level, I do have the 90-day programs for those that are looking for both pieces. I have a fitness app, I have a nutrition app, so they can have their plan right at their fingertips every single day, and they can, walk that wellness piece out at their own pace, at their own place, and then jump into the community and be able to have the daily motivations and have the mindset calls and have the sales group calls, so they can improve on those two things at the same time, as well as work on their mental and emotional states and their fitness. And so there's pretty much a program for everybody. The online or the community will have tutorials in there, which I'm building out now, which is why I gave September as the launch date. And that'll continue to grow, because as we find needs, I already have a huge bucket of education that I've taught in the past, and that I can just, go ahead and put into videos and stick on there. But I won't do it all at once. I'll, kind of do it through time, as time, goes by. And I'm looking for feedback, whatever people want in that community. We do plan on doing retreats. I plan on getting the community together. So as we bring on people all over the nation, they can come to our Emerald Coast and be involved with each other. And, which I just think is phenomenal. I know it excites me at this age and stage in my life to connect with people all over the nation with like minds, and be in relationship as an adult with people. And so, yeah, I have so many ideas and so much fun stuff planned. My Instagram, Heather Blatz Coach, is the best place to find all of that information. There's a link on there that they can contact me if they're interested. They could always DM me there. It's me that's responding, so they can really connect with me one-on-one pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
great. So what's the next 12-month plan look like as far as everything? So September rollout, and then what's past September?
So those that do opt in for a 12-month plan, they're going to be on that executive high level plan. The 90-day program is really, I do know people will see success out of that, and I can see them rolling into an annual plan, because it took me a few years to get to where I'm at, and I'm hoping to cut that down for people, and really start seeing huge success within 90 days to 6 months. But that looks like being active with the community growing. I do plan on doing a retreat the first quarter of next year here. And so that will involve a health focus, a mental and emotional focus. I'll have educators there, pretty much like I did with the real estate investment group, but obviously it's going to be a destination meetup. And for as well as that goes, it would be phenomenal to provide something like that once every quarter. But I think the goal is for next year to do one at the first quarter and one at the third quarter of next year, then reevaluate and see where everyone's needs are.
That sounds great. And if you need a caterer for any of those events, Clean
Yeah.
Eats would be the healthy meal provider for that, because it sounds like a Clean Eats would fit right in with that kind of meetup with everybody. So definitely, if you
Absolutely.
need a caterer for that event, definitely give us a call at Clean Eats.
We'll have a kitchen set up, and you can just cook it all there.
Perfect. Will, you went quiet for a second.
Still
No,
quiet.
it's you're still quiet. But it was, man, he's usually on, but he's been on business in Atlanta, so I think he's got a bad connection.
Mhm.
So usually it's around the time he'd ask you what your lifetime goal or end game looks like. Hey, Will, I'm asking your question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. I guess
Oh,
it's
okay,
just my
cool. Yeah,
audio
we
is
could.
not coming through.
Yeah,
But
now. Yeah, so you go ahead and take it over.
oh, I was saying big shout out to Clean Eats again, for sponsoring this, and hopefully we can connect with Heather at her Q1 and Q3 retreats. So, but yeah, what's the lifetime goal or in game look like? Not only for the coaching career, but just for Heather
Heather
and
Blatz as a
Supermom.
whole. Yeah.
Lifetime goals change as we grow and learn ourselves.
I love it.
Used to
That's a
be
great answer.
yes. And that's okay, right? It's really
Actually,
okay.
you might need to answer what was it 5 years ago and what is it today, just so we can kind of even see your own growth on screen.
Ooh, I love it. I love it.
Absolutely. I know, I love this conversation because, 5 years ago, it was constantly set on financial goals and legacy build out for my kids. I have 5 kids, so it's like, okay, they're all 5 girls. They all need to have something for their weddings, and they all need to have something for college, and I need to leave them an inheritance. And my mind has completely shifted because I have seen the way that I've grown up was because I didn't grow up with money. And I
Mhm.
learned delayed gratification. I learned how, what hard work meant. And I know that God provides a life for each and every one of us. And it's not through money. And so I had this major shift this last year that that's not what I need to be working towards. That we have so much to give. I do believe that everybody has been given these passions and these internal knowings and drive to do something, to have some kind of contribution in life, and you are meant to live that out through your actions, through your career, through your kids, through your words, however it comes out. And so deep diving into what it is that moves me, and knowing that if I don't walk that out, whatever that looks like, that I'm doing a disservice to God putting me on this earth, was a huge aha for me. And it shifted what my future looks like. I know that God provides financially. I know that He gave me talent and desires to understand what that looks like, to retire by the time my kids are adults, so I can be a good grandmother, but also have a side of my life that I'm still contributing. That's what my financial state looks like. That's what I'm looking to do. So no longer am I trying to collect 50 homes so I can have X amount of dollars, so my kids had millions of dollars of inheritance money. That is not how I look at my future anymore. Do I know that God's going to take care of me financially and my kids through me being obedient and being intelligent and walking out, the history and the experiences that He's given me? Yes, but it is not what my focus is on. And that has been the biggest relief in my entire life. And really, it's what birthed the movement of this community so quickly.
I love that. I love that. How do you think you came to that deep dive, or how can some of the listeners, besides joining in September, how can they kind of get to that point to where they find that deep dive to really
how can I get there?
Paradigm shift, you know?
Yes, I definitely think spending time, when crazy things happen, like whether, for me, I've been through a divorce, I've been through, relationship separations. I didn't go through a financial pit hole or anything like that. But I know that that could be something that causes people to just stop and look at their life. For me, I think I've been on, like I said, a track of not being super excited and happy with my life for years. And then I would only spend a little bit of time trying to figure it out. And then I would go, okay, I figured it out. And then I'd, find myself with 4 or 5 things on my plate that have nothing to do with my passions and desires. And all I'm doing is all of these obligations and services to this life that I've built. And I think it's just repetitive being in that position over and over and over again. Maybe it was being in my later 30s. I'm now 41. So maybe it was getting closer and closer to the 4-0. And, people kept saying, oh, you're over the hill. And I'm like, wasn't over the hill 50? And, so it could have been that life, that age transition for me as well. But I just think that it was enough time of me. Oh, you know what? I did journal for years, and I did read my journals, and it was the same stuff over and over again. I am looking to, reduce the stress in my life. I want to be happier. And I kept seeing that pattern over and over again. And I'm like, gosh, Heather, if you were coaching somebody that this is what they kept telling you, month after month or year after year, you would be very frustrated with them. So I guess you would say I started coaching myself, and I really just, I deleted, omitted, I stopped everything that I was doing. When it came to, being out with different people, the relationships that I was in, and I started spending a lot of time by myself, and I started meditating. I love Joe Dispenza and the way that he teaches meditation, and he teaches how your brain works. He says, you go into this meditation and you tell your brain what to do. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can tell my brain what to do, because your brain, I feel like, can get you into trouble. It got me into a lot of trouble throughout the years. And so spending that time journaling, praying, spending time by myself, spending time with God, understanding, the difference between my brain and my spirit. And I did that for months, and it caused me to make small shifts in my life, deleting people out of my life, looking for my own core values. That was a huge thing for me, was determining what my core values were. I thought I did it before, but they were always based on business. It was like, what are your core values? And then you do the little, system, and you discover that, oh, I'm determined and I'm consistent, and, I value these things. And it had nothing to do with you personally. They have to do with how you act in life to get what you want. And so I did a deep dive into why I am who I am, and why I like things that I like and why I don't like things, and what causes high anxiety and what brings that down, what gives me peace, and really discovering what my true values were, and then aligning all my yeses to include people and things and things that I signed up for, and career path and all of that, to those core values. So here I did again. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, I mean, I think that was great. Some things, if I didn't pick them up correctly, were journaling, meditating, reading, trying to understand some of those, and how you can kind of control the brain. I definitely agree to your statement. The brain has gotten me in trouble a few times too, just like moving too fast, doing a whole bunch of things. So that's awesome. Yeah. Sam, this is one of my favorite questions that Sam likes to ask, and I know you're already prepped for it.
Yeah. So now that you kind of gave us some of the things that make you who you are, what are some of your what's your favorite or top 3 favorite books that helped you get to where you are today? I know you mentioned a couple in the beginning, but let's highlight those top 3 favorites.
So I have been reading anywhere from 40 to 60 books or listening to them on Audible every year for it has to be a decade now. And now I will tell you my top 3 that are in my Audible that I've been listening to. And I don't know about you, but I listen to them and then I rewind them and listen to things again. Like if I want something to really absorb, I'll rewind it and rewind it. So sometimes I'll listen to all of the book or half the book 3 times. And I do like to shift between books. Some people are like, oh no, you need to read all of one. I don't do that. I read multiple books at a time, just depending on what mood I'm in. But You Happier by Daniel Amen is a phenomenal book. It is one that I am listening to right now, again, for the second time. It teaches you about brain types. And then, of course, anything by Ed Milet, which The Power of One is the book that I'm reading now, as well as his podcast and his YouTube. And then I mentioned Joe Dispenza and his one. I wrote it down. Okay. So Joe Dispenza's book is Evolve Your Brain. And he's just phenomenal. He's got meditation podcast on Audible, and then he's got his books as well.
I'm gonna have to check
Awesome.
him out.
Who'd you say was who was the author on You Happier?
Daniel Amen.
Daniel Amen. I'm writing these down myself.
I would have never
awesome.
picked up that book. Because You Happier wasn't at the time something that I was thinking. It really, I don't think is a good title for the book, to be honest with you. I listened to, I think it was Jay Shetty, interviewed him on a podcast, and he mentioned this book, and I loved what Daniel was saying, or Dr. Amen was saying on the podcast. And so then I downloaded the book. Like, I would have never downloaded this book, and I still don't feel like that's what it's about. So
right. No, that's awesome, because I'm definitely I've definitely been looking for some stuff to do some mindset shifting for myself. So I'm definitely gonna give those a look. And then I love Ed Milet, so The Power of One More is definitely a great read. And his podcast is definitely one I recommend all of our listeners to listen to, just because, like I said, he's a very inspiring and motivating person.
And Jay Shetty, I know you had mentioned him. Like, Think Like a Monk. What a book! That's just such an inspiring and incredible story that he has. But well, this has been super fun. And as much as I hate asking the last question, I love listening to the answers. And this is going to be kind of a little 2-part. Earlier, you said that a lot of times you were doing deal finding, and you were doing it for free if it was the right person who you felt could educate you and things like that. So I really think that was a golden nugget, because I think a lot of people are so, like you mentioned earlier, they want hyper success, things super, super fast, and they're not thinking long term. But I think when you start in the beginning, if you can help someone who's hyper successful or you see as doing things at a level that you want to do, that's investing into yourself. And a lot of times people want the paycheck instead. So with that being said, and kind of clipping together some really cool nuggets that you dropped, what's some advice you'd give to someone starting today if they wanted to do what you do?
Okay, so I will tell you this, when I started real estate, I went and drove around and I saw what I thought were the best signs, out, the most signs. I kept seeing this guy's name over and over again. So I walked into his office and asked for him.
Since we are local, could you tell us who the guy was?
It wasn't here. It was in Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah. So I saw this guy's sign everywhere. I walked into the office. He wasn't there. I went back 3 or 4 times and he finally was there. And I said, hey, listen, I'm getting my real estate license. At the time I was married, but I didn't have any kids. And so I had a lot of time. And I said, can I just come here and hang out with you, listen to you? And if you have small things for me to do, just, I'll do them. The guy was like, I guess, So I started showing up and he had this little desk right beside him. I just listened in on what he was saying. before you know it, he was like, hey, can you go drop this lockbox off? Can you go put the sign in the yard? He dealt with foreclosures at the time. So then it was, hey, can you go deliver this notice, this 3-day eviction notice? Can you go do cash for keys? So I started learning all this stuff about foreclosures. And then I realized that foreclosures at the time, they did this thing where they would charge, or they would automatically say yes to somebody that could clean out a property for under $1,000. So then I started a little small business on the side, and I bid $999 for every clean out, and I started cleaning out the houses. And so, all of these opportunities came up, and I did all kinds of stuff for him for free. When I finally got my license, he started giving me all the little pivotal or all the little non worth it to him real estate deals. And so right off the bat, I was getting commission off of these deals and being basically his showing agent and his little listing assistant, just from that time frame that I spent hours, I guess. I mean, I probably spent a good month with him for free, working, whenever I possibly could. Sometimes I'm like, what would I give if I didn't have kids, in the early part of my life? Like, where would I be? Because I was all in everything that I could possibly do. And obviously when I had kids, it took up a lot of time and space. So for anybody that's out there, even if you have kids or if you have kind of a busy life, looking for people that are 5 years or so ahead of you. And I'm telling you, they will not think anything negatively about you. They probably fully desire to help you because they see a part of them in you. And so finding those mentors, always looking for somebody that's a little bit further ahead of you and spending time with them, rubbing elbows with them, whatever you have to do. Skip the bars at night unless that's where they're hanging out. But most of the time, they're having like coffee dates and, midday things. But finding the network groups that, these people hang out in, looking on Facebook, telling them, hey, look, like you look really, successful. And I just want to learn. I don't want to, take up any space that would hinder you from doing anything. But if there's an opportunity where I can come and serve and learn from you, can I do that all day long? I still do that.
That is great advice for anyone listening. And I'll say in my own personal experience, I have a bunch of people I've looked up to that are everywhere from 5 years ahead to 50 years ahead. And every single one I've ever looked up to that I've like told them like, hey, I'm let them know I admired them and what I was wanting to learn from them. Every single one of them has helped me out or given me advice or at least some words of encouragement. So it's I think that's something a lot of people think have in their mindset, especially at high level of success, that it's like a club that you're not in it. They want to keep everyone else out of it. And I've really found that life isn't that way. That most people that do well want to see other people do well. And I definitely see that with you. I mean, that's like I said, I think, I knew who you were, but I think I got to know you more through the real estate meetup and my interactions with you there. And, I definitely can tell that, you're someone who wants to, lead and help others, reach high levels of success.
Oh yeah, definitely. You are too, Sam.
Totally.
Well, even just showing up like at a very high level. When I was 17 years old, I got hired at the Walgreens when I was in college. And I was an assistant manager there, and there was some things in disarray. And I would work really, really fast to get my normal job done. And then I would tell everybody that I was going to be in a stock room. And I climbed up and down these shelves and reorganized the entire stock room in like 2 weeks. And I did it all on the clock when I was supposed to, after getting all of my stuff done. Just worked at a very, very fast pace. I was excited about it. And this guy was so impressed that I did that. He started taking vacations when I was the assistant on. I ended up taking a higher level management position. He was able to take vacations. I learned a ton of stuff. And then he became my first real estate client when I got into real estate. He bought a house from me immediately. He said, as soon as you get your license, I am buying a house from you.
That is an amazing.
No way. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I love hearing that. I mean, and that's actually even just a great point for the listeners that here you were, very basic job, someone stocking shelves at a Walgreens, and you did that job to the best of your ability. You didn't think of yourself as, oh, I'm just a shelf stocker. You're like, hey, I'm gonna go do this job, and I'm gonna be the best shelf stocker that ever existed, and it led you not only to a promotion within that job, but then a future sale in your new career. So I mean, I think that's just something
Unbelievable.
everyone needs to think about. I think it was someone wise once said that if you do more than you're paid to do, you'll soon be paid for more than you do, or something along those lines.
Oh, I
And
love that.
yeah, and
I love that.
Yeah, I like that too.
I
Yeah,
think you.
because it's about seeing a need and just serving there. Like it was with whenever I received a truck, I couldn't efficiently put it away because the stock room wasn't organized. So then it was like chaos on chaos on chaos. I'm like, well, the solve to that is organize the stock room. Is it a big job? Yes. But will it solve all of our efficiencies, here moving in the future? Absolutely. And so, yeah, it was hard work. And no, it wasn't a part of my job description, but it made things more efficient for us. And even if he wasn't super excited about it, I didn't care. It made my life easier, and I knew it would make the company's life easier. And so those are the things that I try to develop in my kids and I look out for in my kids at home. I'm not looking for them to bring home A's. I'm not looking for them to, be perfect. I'm looking for those qualities that show that they care about, the things and the space around them, and that they show up with the delayed gratification mindset and the care of others, and looking at those things as being more important. I don't know, kind of a sidetrack on the kids, but
No, I think that's great, and I mean that's very very important because I mean just grades alone aren't the end all be all. I'm sure we all know someone who was just an average student, and now they're got more money than all of us now, and then they're probably a superstar student who's probably just has a really regular job, which not knocking either one, but there's not necessarily a correlation. It's it's definitely how you handle things in your life. So where's some of the best where's the best place for people to reach out to you and check out more information about you? I know you mentioned your Instagram. What's that Instagram? And then I know you have a website too. What's that?
Yes, easy enough. It's heatherblatz.com, and my Instagram is heatherblatzcoach. And those are the best places to reach me. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, we definitely recommend everybody reaching out to Heather. Whether you want to commit to the year of coaching or just that 90-day transition, I think you'd benefit from either one. So definitely give her a shout. Check her out on Instagram, shoot her a DM, and set up a consultation. To see if you're a good fit for the coaching program, because I think she's going to help a lot of people in the future in their first year, and then I'm really interested to see even 10 years out because I just know it's going to be a huge magnifying effect on the amount of impact that you have around. I think we might have lost Will again, but that's okay. We'll still wrap it up. If you want to check me out, come see me on Instagram at Sam_FloridaMan. That's the best place to reach me. Feel free to shoot me a DM, shoot me your deal. If you want a second set of eyes on your deal, just to see if everything's good, feel free to shoot it over to me. I'd love to take a look at it for you and possibly partner if you're interested in that. And you can also check out our website, theeliterealestatepodcast.com. As always, we're always looking forward to having people on our show that can share valuable knowledge, and we appreciate you coming on, Heather. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.